Hello and welcome to Mtoto News Insights with me, Omar Ahmed. Before we start, let's first of all have a look at the headlines today.
Everyone needs therapy. And I feel like children, especially children who've gone through traumatic experiences.
Is therapy important for children?
Ukikuja ukiolewa kwa hii boma yangu nitakuvugusa. Tuambie wewe ukutairisho. Uweze kufungua hii mlango.
And today we bring you a story on how Mama Pauline evolved from being an FGM supporter to an anti-FGM activist.
Now I am thinking we need to change the perspective of child-friendly being cartoons and animations only.
Okay.
Yeah, adolescents can be controlled. It's only with the person.
And on our hot discussion today, we break down the issue of child-friendly content in the 21st century. On to our first news story. Our journalist Brian King gives us more information on the importance of therapy and guidance to children and teenagers and the impact it has on their general mental well-being. Let's have a look.
In Kenya, children face many challenges when they're growing up, physically, emotionally, and psychologically. This is why they need therapy to cope with the daily challenges of their lives.
Therapy, just like the way you go to the hospital when you're sick, your tummy is sick, or when your arm is hurting or your back is hurting, then you get some pills or you get some physiotherapy. So therapy is a form of treatment just like any other, but this one is where your emotions are in some form of distress, or your thoughts are distressful.
Yes, I feel like I get the necessary guidance and therapy, mostly when I'm in school. Because you see, when we're in school, there are clubs like, okay, personally my school started a club on helping people cope with stress and bullying. They banned bullying, but it was still there. And there was a case in which my friend nearly committed suicide because of bullying. So that was the main cause for starting that club. And while you're in school, you get to talk to different people. The teachers are a bit trained on how to guide the child through this stage. I'd say stage they're going through. Let's say it's depression. Let's say it's stress. Just stress. You know, you can have stress exams, like stress because of exams. Not necessarily a big thing.
Therapy is a known remedy to this that helps children and teenagers cope with the day-to-day challenges of their lives, and is very common in the western parts of the world, but not here in Africa.
Everyone needs therapy. And I feel like children, especially children who've gone through traumatic experiences, ought to undergo therapy. Also children who have developmental issues, you know, the children born with things like autism, they have to undergo some form of cognitive behavioral therapy for them to at least get to a place where they can catch up with other children. So children, especially those who have developmental issues, neurodevelopmental issues, have to undergo therapy. Also children who've gone through traumatic experiences have to undergo therapy. Sometimes you confuse therapy and guidance and counseling. Those are two different things. You don't have to have an issue for you to go for guidance, you know, but therapy, you have to have had an issue with your mental health. And of course, if there are any symptoms of dysfunctional behavior, then parents ought to take their children for therapy.
Well, I'd say you require guidance and therapy mostly, all the time basically, because you don't know. There's events or there's stages in life where you just can't handle such situations that are really emotional, that are affecting your emotional state. You know, you can be sad any moment, and that's one of a mental health disorder. You be happy at this time, like you're really, really happy, and then the next minute you're really sad. So yeah, all the time.
Mental health is a very important aspect of our lives. We have what we call the wellness wheel, and it entails our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health, our emotional health, our social interactions, how we interact with people. That is what informs how healthy we are as people, how functional we are as people. So if one part, and they're interdependent, if one part of that wheel is not functioning properly, then every other part will be affected. So if your mental health is not okay, of course, your physical health will not be okay, which means if my thoughts are intrusive, if my emotions are not okay, I will not be able to maybe exercise, then that will be a liability in terms of my physical health, and it will in turn somehow affect my physical health, and then it will affect how I interact with people. My social life will be in jeopardy. You understand? So mental health, just like any other aspect of your health, is quite important. And I think it's very important that parents realize this, teachers realize this, organizations, institutions realize this, because when we put the mental health of each individual forward, then we also elevate the other parts of their lives and the community as a whole. I wouldn't say adults have a better grasp of their emotions as children, because the way you inform how you will respond to issues as an adult is going to come from how you responded to issues, or how your issues were treated when you responded to them as a child. For example, when as a child you grew up and you were neglected, chances are as you grow up you will develop trust issues. You won't be able to get along with people and trust them easily, and you'll be very avoidant. We have what we call the avoidant attachment style. So you'll be around people, but you don't want to create bonds with them. You don't want to be with them because as a child you were neglected, or your parents were there and they were not there. Sometimes they are there. So you have the anxious attachment practice, whereby you want to get to people, but you're not sure whenever they leave. So you're very anxious about their presence. So if at all you did not grow up with a secure childhood, chances are the way you communicate, the way you live will be affected even as an adult. So you'll get people who are not expressive with their emotions because as children, they're not able to express them and express them in a healthy way. They were told, shut up. They were told, you don't know what you're saying. They were told, listen. They were told, you're a boy. Boys don't cry. So you grow up people with harboring intense anger, intense bitterness, and then they end up exploding, they end up doing very harmful things. And that is why it's very crucial, because children are like sponges. They absorb a lot of things, because that's when the brains are developing at a very, very fast rate. So if you get to a point where you are impeding the child's ability to grow, to think, to have critical minds, that's why we talk about cognition, then chances are even as adults they won't be as helpful, or they wouldn't have grown as because we have the chronological age. So if they have grown their chronological age, they've grown to say 20 or 30, they've grown chronologically, but mentally they have not grown. They're still 6 years old, mentally speaking. Emotionally speaking, they're 8 years old, because they were not given that chance, that ability to grow. So that is why it's very crucial for children to be given a safe space to be expressive, and a safe space to explore who they are, their identities.
Well, you've heard it, the impacts and importance of therapy to children. Reporting from Mtoto News Insights, I am Brian King.
Thank you so much, Brian, for that elaborate reporting. When Mama Paulina Robi was jailed for 7 years in 2014 for performing FGM in Kegonga, Kuria East Sub-County, residents went into a cutting spree to revenge on the court's decision to jail their most respected cutter then. Our team of journalists traveled to Kuria, and now we bring you a special story on how the decision to jail her and the collaboration between law enforcers and cultural leaders have contributed towards ending FGM. Take a look.
Sasa huyu msichana akisikia namna hiyo ni kama masikio imefungana kabisa. Amejua sasa nimefikia. Unajua maneno ya kukeketa watoto wasichana ilikuwa ni muhimu sana kwa Mkuria.
Ilikuwa ni mila kama ukosa kutahirishwa. Ukikucha kwa hivyo ukiolewa kwa hivyo mama yangu. nitakuvugusa. Kaambia wewe ukutairisho. Uweze kufungua hii mlango. Sasa ulikuwa kama ukutairisho ufungue hii mlango yangu. Hapana, nafikia kando kwa hii mlango naenda. Lakini sasa tunao hata wale ambao watairisho makabila, kila kabila na olewa hapa. Sasa utafanya nini? Utakataa namna gani? Wajaruo ndio hao, Wagholi ndio hiyo. Sasa utakataa nini namna gani?
Lakini baadaye mkuli amepeleka semina mbalimbali, tunaongelezwa mpaka tunaambiwa ubaya wa ukeketaji wa watoto wasichana. Na kweli tukaona ni muhimu. Mtoto msichana akikeketwa tu ajui masomo ni nini sasa. Kitu anajua ni nyumba yake. Apate bwana akae. Na ni mtu wa umri wa miaka 9, 10, 12 mpaka 15 hapo. Sababu hao watoto walikuwa wanajificha, wanakimbia, wanaenda kukeketwa. Na wengine wazazi wanakubaliana tu, sababu mzazi alikuwa anaona akeketwa aitwe muisike. Akiitwa muisike sasa huyo anajua atapewa ng'ombe afanye shughuli yake.
Hata siku nilifungwa, Chacha alinipea karatasi. Kaangalia hivi nikamwambia, Chacha, ulinifunga miezi 7 au miaka 7? Akaniambia ni miaka 7. Nikaangalia hivi nikanyamaza. Sina la kufanya. Kama hii kazi ndio nilikuwa nafanya ndio ananifunga. Hiyo Mungu ndiye atajua. Ukaa chema miaka 7 hivi uone jua, wani kukaa tu nakaa tu. Boga nafika wengine ndio hivi mpaka nafika 7.
Wakati huyu mama alishikwa akaenda kufungwa, wazee walisema, sasa serikali inatoa namna hiyo. Sasa mwaka ujao tutakeketa hata mtoto wa miaka 10. Tuone vile watafanya. Na kweli ifikia hata maskari wakaja hapa Nguruna shule 12, gari 12. Na watoto walikuwa wanakeketwa hapo. Wale vijana walikuwa wanataka waende kukeketwa. Siku hiyo hawakutaka waende. Sasa wote walikuja huko waone maskari watafanya nini, wataua wangapi. Na hao vijana sasa wapambane, sababu ni watoto, hata serikali inaweza kuchukuliwa. Eti kwa nini mlienda kuua watoto namna hiyo? Hiyo kifanya maskari wakaangalia wakaondoka wakaenda. Wakati huu tulikuwa na muhimu sana mtoto lazima afanye nini akeketwe. Vijana sasa walikuwa wanakuja wanavamia mke wako. Wanasema na wewe ni wewe utakeketa wasichana. Apenda asipende. Wanaenda kukeketwa na vijana, wanasimama na mikuki, mamizare, ngao, wakiangoja serikali waje wapambane. Hadi kesho ni wa yule watachukua. Kesho kuto ni wangu watachukua. Kwa rasima. Na ndio ikaendelea watoto umri wa kufikia namna hii wakakeketwa.
Miaka 7 hivi kwa jela 7 hivi, si ati miaka 1 ni 7. Ninakaa kwa jela. Hata nikatamani siku kweli nitawaachiliwa niende kwangu kweli. Hata jela wananiambia utarudia ugasi kweli. Uche kuteseka tena hapo. Tirudi hapo kwa hii mateso. Naambia hapana.
Sheria ni sheria. Sheria ikiwekwa lazima iwe sheria. Sababu wewe mwananchi wa kawaida hutaweza kubomoa ile sheria ya serikali. Na ni vizuri muelewane na serikali, muwe pamoja, msaidiane, ndio itakuwa kitu mzuri sana. Kwa hivyo ningeomba tuendelee kuhimiza watu kwa mabarasa ya machifu, hata kwa makanisa, kwa mashule, sana kwa mashule, sababu hapo ndio tunaenda tunakuta wasichana wanaambiwa ubaya wa kukeketwa ni nini. Mtoto akirudi nyumbani anaenda kuambia wazazi wako kwamba kuna wazee fulani walikuwa huko, walikuwa wanasema hii kukeketaji ni mbaya. Kitu sasa tunataka ni masomo. Wakulia nimeona kama wameelimuka sana. Na sasa hii kila mtu nikitembea kwa mabomo ya watu wanasema mlikuwa wapi, mnatusaidia sana. Wengi waitu bila nimeona wameacha hii maneno.
Hata siku hizi hata wasichana wanakataa wenyewe. Ukimwambia aende kutahirishwa, anakupeleka jela. Hata kuna mwingine juzi tu mama yake alimwambia hivi, unajua akili yako ni vile ukutairisho ndio una akili ndogo. Unajua alienda kaleta polisi kashika mama yake hapo kwa chea.
Hata kuna matambiko tumefanya kupitia kwa ile miungu ile na mfanya ule mama na keketa wasichana, mfanya amekuwa mgonjwa, amekuwa na shida mpaka analia, anasema ngoja nifanye kazi yangu. Na ile wakati ilikuwa ikifikia kama mwezi wa 9, kwanza mwezi wa 8 wa 9 mpaka wa 10, kulikuwa na hiyo vitu ilikuwa ikiimba usiku, vile wanaimbia mtoto msichana akipelekwa kwa tohara. Sasa hiyo nasikia hiyo miungu hiyo, sijasikia mtu akisema nilisikia mahali fulani. Sababu tulienda mahali ilikuwa na banyaye maneno kwa milima ile, tukaanza kuchinja mbuzi hapo. Wakabidi kwamba hii sasa tumewaomba muache kusumbua wamama. Hii ni mambo ambayo imeisha. Sasa tunataka tugeuke, tujue maneno ya kisomo, watoto wasome.
So this is Nyakehomo Hills. This is where one of the cultural sacrifices are made, and as you can see, we are here with him because he has been explaining to us what happens here. He tells me that I cannot go beyond this area because that is where the gods are, and that is where the gods stay. So when sacrifices were made a few years ago, this is where the sacrifices were being burnt. Then from there now, some of the meat was taken inside there for the gods to eat. And he has mentioned to me that there are specific parts of the goat that are supposed to be given to the gods to please them. And it took them a whole process to please the gods so that they can be allowed to stop female genital mutilation. And he has also mentioned to me that this area initially, it wasn't possible for anyone else to come apart from the cultural elders, and there were specific people that were supposed to come to these hills. But today I can come here because the gods are already happy, and even if I do video here, the gods will not get hungry of me. So he also tells me that there was a time limit where people could come here, and that is up to 4 p.m. And here already I'm here at around 4:30 or 5 p.m. And he says there is no problem today because the gods are already happy after eating the goat that was given to them last time. And he also mentioned that about 5 goats were slaughtered here to make sure that the gods are happy. So it's an amazing experience to be here, even though I'm so scared because I don't know whether the gods are happy with me being here or they are not happy now that I'm coming to reveal their secrets.
Wazazi waangalie mtoto, wamupeleke shuleni aende asome. Ikiwa Mungu atakuwa anatunza hao wazazi, huyu mtoto ndio atakuja kuwasaidia wakati wa maisha yao. Kwa jamii ya Kukuria wote kutoka Bwirege mpaka Bugombe, nawaambia bila tulikuwa tunaongea, iwe ni hiyo, watoto wasome. Sababu tumeisakata kauli, naomba jamii zote iwe namna hiyo.
Najua kila kitu kinapita na wakati. Mwenye anapenda kutahiri msichana wake, ajue bila natahiri mwenyewe. Lakini si alete kwangu nicho kumtahiri. Hii ni shida wananiletea tena.
And that story takes us to our first break here at Mtoto News Insights. But don't go too far. We are coming back with our child advocates as we discuss the issue of child-friendly content in the 21st century. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Mtoto News Insights. Before we took a break, I had highlighted on the topic that we are having right now with my beautiful panelists about child-friendly content. Is there child-friendly content in our TVs, in our YouTubes, and our Play Stores these days? So that's why I have my panelists. I'm going to let them to introduce themselves, and then we continue with the discussion. Let me start with you.
Hi, my name is Karen Mikoma, and I'm a child journalist as well as an advocate trained by Mtoto News.
Asante sana Karen Mikoma. Let's go to our very own big man.
Big man. Hello, my name is Brian King. I am a child rights advocate, and today, guys, I am a beautiful panelist.
Asante sana Brian. Yes, Sheila.
As you said, my name is Sheila.
Yes.
I'm a trained journalist at Mtoto News.
A trained journalist and also a child advocate.
And
Ndeleni kusema child advocate. Today I have them questions.
And a beautiful
a panelist also, sindio?
He said beautiful panelist. And I'm like,
okay. Asante sana. So today we're talking about child-friendly content. Let me start with you, Sheila. You have the mic, sindio?
Yes.
Now, Sheila, in our TVs today, in our YouTubes, I mean, do you think there's child-friendly content?
To a point, I'll say yes. Acha tuende YouTube kidogo. In YouTube, you'll see stories, animated stories, whereby they're educative to teens and children, that I'll say. To TVs, there is always a specific time. It's always Saturdays from 8 to 9 there. Cartoons. I won't say that is a child-friendly content, but at least... No, it's not.
Okay. Thank you so much, Sheila, for those inputs. Now, let me come to you now, Brian. Yes, Brian, other than us, as in children who have been trained under Mtoto News, we've gone through communications and stuff, so we know where child-friendly content is. There's that family in the maybe marginalized or maybe in the informal settlements where the content they watch is general. Niya kila mtu. TV kiwashwa, it's for everyone. Is there child-friendly content?
I believe we're looking at the media, looking at the TV, the general media. But you said YouTubes. First, I'd love clarification. How many YouTubes we have? But yes,
because I understand there's YouTube Kids. There's YouTube,
Okay,
but
YouTube Go and all.
YouTube,
okay, now back to the question. I do believe we kind of have child-friendly content because I want to believe this is child-friendly content and it's going to be aired on general media. I believe, of course, there is always going to be content that is not child-friendly, but I believe the media companies are trying their best to actually, generalize media content so that it can be consumed by our viewers, young and old. So yes, I believe it's a step toward the right place.
Thank you so much, Brian. Now let me come to you, Karen Mwikoma. Now, Karen, you watch TV?
Yes.
You are a very active social media user?
Kind of.
Nice, fantastic. Now, is there child-friendly content?
For the most of it, I would say yes. But then there's that one small corner of the internet that is just full of things that are not for children.
Fantastic. Okay. Thank you so much, Karen. I know Brian is wondering why I'm saying fantastic. Now, now let me now ask you specifically. Now, Karen, do you watch child-friendly content?
Yes.
Expound more on what you watch.
I watch Mtoto News.
Thank you so much. That's the first answer. Actually, you already have 90%.
I also watch animations like movies. I like watching like action movies, like Marvel movies. All of us know that. DC movies, mostly, and series that are to do with like superheroes and stuff like that.
Asante sana, Karen. Now, let me come to Brian. Brian, do you watch child-friendly content?
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? What are you trying to insinuate? I do watch child-friendly content. I'm a child.
What do you watch now as child-friendly?
I watch. I'd love to say the news, but I also watch Mtoto News a lot. I am a big fan of animations and cartoons. I'm also a big fan of movies.
Okay.
So movies. child-friendly movies.
Okay.
But yes, I mean, I have to elaborate and say that some movies, especially Marvel movies these days, I cannot say they are all child-friendly. I mean, you do have to understand the definition of child-friendly. It's supposed to be content that can be consumed by children. It is age-appropriate, meaning it does not have sexual or graphic content in itself. And so I realized that some scenes are not GE. GE movies. You understand that? Thus making the whole movie in itself. I mean, here's a way to figure out if a movie is child friendly. If you cannot watch that movie with your grandma, then it's not child friendly. You see, I mean, as much as those old guys might have been backwards in some sense, they did have a very strong opinion when it comes to content that is accessed by children. And I tend to believe that our generation tends to cross that line in extreme bits. Like those dark parts of the corner of the internet, the dark corners of the internet. How did you find it about this? You can tell us more about that.
We will come to you, Karen, to know more about the dark corner of the internet.
Exactly. Omar, I'm telling you, the internet crosses those lines because social media does not have GE content, whether it's accessed and controlled by parents or not. Let's say WhatsApp. Your mother can control your WhatsApp, but some weirdo somewhere can say to send you content that is not child friendly. Am I kidding? YouTube. As much as YouTube Go tends to censor content, children are still able to actually access a lot of unchild friendly content using the same media links. Do you know how? Content, if you give me access to Google, I can go to gujara.com. You know that, right? That site is not child rated at all. And even YouTube Go, there are some movies that are supposed to be GE, but they're not.
Okay, asante sana, Brian. We are coming back to more questions about that. Now, Sheila,
yes.
I'm asking the same question before I ask the second one. Now, do you watch child-friendly content?
Yes.
Before I start laughing.
Okay, yes. To start with Mtoto News.
Fantastic.
And then to congratulate Akili Kids. Yes, they're really doing an amazing job. Because, you see, at least that is the only TV station, I think, it has prioritized children. And at least it brings shows for children. Sometimes it can host maybe the famous actress there. They're just speaking things to do with children. The way how they help certain children from different parts of Kenya, the way they are going to initiate so many different projects. You see, at times I find myself speaking about watching Akili Kids, even though most of us don't like it. And then maybe YouTube, at least animated stories. But I guess that one is, I can rate it. It's from 12 to at least 17 there. It is that talking about teens, but at least it is educative, that I can say it.
Asante sana, Sheila. Now, at this point in time, we are taking a short break, but don't go too far. We still have extremely hot questions for these child advocates here about child-friendly content. So stay tuned. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to Mtoto News Insights. Before we took a break, we were putting these child advocates in hot seat about child-friendly content, and we are continuing with that. So I'm with you, Sheila, right?
Yes.
I'm with you, Sindo. Niko nawe, Sindo. Perfect. Now, Sheila,
yes.
You said you watch child-friendly content, right? But you do also know that there is content that is not child-friendly.
Yes.
Have you ever come across any unchild-friendly content?
Yes, Omar.
Yes.
Talking about that question is really hard to answer, but I say that one. You might attend kidogo. So just to go direct, there's some content that is produced by various media that is not child friendly. For example, how do you just put these soaps that are always on these televisions, you see, it's always at 8, and maybe let's say my brother is in class 3, so 8 years. Scrolling the television and then sees it because there's just a child in that movie, then he wants to watch. There's there's kissing there are sexual moves all over there in that television, whereby it's not right for him to watch. It's rated, it's written, the following program is rated GE, is therefore suitable for general viewing. And inside the movie or inside that soap, it's PG. Like, you see, that is not right. At least let's rate these things. If it's a movie, if it's animation, let it be for children, and at least let it have a certain message it is trying to give us. Yeah.
Asante sana. Now let me come to you, Brian. Now, Brian, Sheila has mentioned that perspective of, it's written GE, but when you go in the program, it's PG. Like, even you can say this is PG. But don't you think that maybe in places like in the US maybe, and in those first world countries, things like kissing to them is not a big deal, but here it's a big deal. So don't you think it's maybe the shift of continents and
the exchange of cultures. I mean, but Omar, I am thinking in a family, for it to be actually a proper family, they have to be adults there. So you won't tell me those adults are going to watch cartoons, because that is what Kenyans believe to be child-friendly content. I believe that actually media stations are actually justified in airing soap operas and other shows that might not be appealing or PG rated to children, you see. But now I am thinking we need to change the perspective of child friendly being cartoons and animations only.
Okay.
If we need more stations like Mtoto News, basically, where we can air children material that is not necessarily cartoons.
That actually brings us to a second question. Do you think we need our own channel that we have our own content and programs that are child friendly?
Yeah, I believe that is something that should be there, and we should actually other stations should emanate from this. You see, they should copy us. Basically, they should be able to air child content that is not cartoons, because my mother personally has something against cartoons. You cannot watch an animation or cartoon when she's there. But then again, you don't expect children to be chased away every time there's a PG program. They also want to watch TV. They also want to be entertained. So basically, media stations should try to air content that is perfect for the family. Reality shows, cooking shows, these things where people actually get to talk about it. But then again, is kissing really that?
Now we are coming to that, Brian. Thank you so much for bringing that up. Let me move on to Karen. Now, Karen, have you ever found that a program is written GE and then maybe you find that it's disturbing for you as a child?
Yes. I think on Citizen, remember there was a time that they were airing Maria, that show. So like all of us in the family used to flock around the TV and watch. So now there was this one episode that it said GE. So now when we were about to watch it, we come and find that it was very disturbing for, let's say, my brother, because at that time he was very small, because it was showing death and things like that. So like you have to be very specific. GE for children or for adults,
or maybe GE maybe to disturb teens, maybe, or something like that. Do you think we should have our own channel?
Yes. So like we can air cartoons that are very child friendly and other things that are to do with children.
Okay, thank you so much, Karen. So Brian mentioned that other stations should like copy Mtoto News, or basically don't copy our content. This is copyright. Anyway, but get to do child-friendly content and stuff. Now let me come to you, Sheila, before we go to Brian and Karen. Now, Sheila, you as a child advocate, what are you doing to ensure that there's child-friendly content?
Basically, I'm here discussing these issues. That is my first step.
Okay.
To tell those who are watching us, please, as much as you're rating out, as much as you're giving out content out there, as Brian was trying to say, is really kissing that bad. You see, as we are children, and we experiment what we see. See, when you go to the lab, and then your chemistry teacher tells you to pipette.
Have you maybe ever have an instance where children have done things they've seen on TV? Maybe.
Yes. Actually, I'll talk about. I come from Kibra, so like there's these songs. You see, like these are musicians. They're doing a great job out there, spreading out their career and maybe doing what they are good at.
Talent.
Their talent and earning. So there are these songs when people are dancing naked, people are like, you know, all those kinds of things. Now I was going to buy something at the shop, and then I met a group of boys and girls. So they were imitating the, I won't say Mbogi Genje, but kinda. The how do we call them?
They were imitating the musicians.
This genge music. Now they're imitating it, how the girls are doing, how the boys are doing. They're experimenting it exactly.
And maybe you, what did you do to them as a child advocate? Or maybe you joined them, maybe?
No, not join them. Actually, I pulled one aside and asked him, why are you doing this, Kobarabara? Said, but we are musicians. We want to become like them. So we are just doing what we are seeing. See, it's not a crime. That is what they told me. But to me, how I felt it, because as much as you will tell someone's child to stop doing something, they'll come back at you. This is my child, it's not your child. Why do you have a problem with it? Now, what I can only do is just speak to those who are listening to me, because we experiment what we see. And as much as we'll see good content, that is what we will become. We'll be doing good things out there. You see someone doing this, like having fancy dinners, doing all those things, good clothes and all that. The next time you'll want to be like that person. Girls, if you see a new hairstyle, the next thing you'll just be like, guys, you know what? I just want that thing. So you see, as much as good content is produced, it is like good for us. And the way he said before, is kissing that bad. What if a 9-year-old start kissing? Is that even good?
There have been instances that science has tried to explain that children even at as low as 9 get to develop, and they get to that adolescent age even at 9 years. So what do you think about that? Maybe
adolescents can be controlled. It's only with the person. There are people who are 18, 19 and they've never kissed, they've never even done that. Are they mad? Are they not humans? They are humans. They're humans, and it can be controlled. As much as these contents that can at least disturb them, the way Karen said, it can disturb them, and they'll not be in a position where they'll be experimenting new things that they think it is right and it's not right.
Thank you so much, Sheila, for those inputs. Now, Brian, before I ask you the next question, maybe you have something to add on.
I was saying, in the African culture, it is a taboo to express emotion or love to another person, you see, and that is why it was even a taboo to hug each other. Let's say some 10 years ago, if children were seen hugging each other, that was tabia mbaya. Umona,
you get crushed.
And I'm here thinking, Omar, we were here talking about the sex talk and sex education, how it should be introduced and how children should be exposed to sex education as early as possible, right? And so, Sheila, you might say that these children were actually copying what these musicians were portraying, what they were seeing in the music videos and all. But that was not the era. My friend, that was not the era. That was not. The mistake came in the point where they were exposed to this music. This music is not, the fact that it is there, the fact that these kind of actions are there shows that it is not child-friendly music. So that is where the society went wrong. They exposed them to those kind of songs. That should not mean that they should not see, and even if they don't see it in movies, they will see it. They will walk across the streets, people kiss, people hug. I don't think that is the worst thing they can be exposed to. It came to a point where holding a girl's hand was such a taboo. Remember when those singing games required you you ran to your fellow boys because you know.
Actually, I used to cry when I was told to do that.
Exactly, because it was associating yourself with a girl or something like that, which I personally don't believe is a bad thing. You said adolescence can be controlled, right? Or you want to control it, you don't want to end it, because you can't end adolescence. You can't control it. Teach them it's okay to be with a girl. It's okay to like a girl. You see, it's okay to hug a girl. So I don't even think, I know this, let me be controversial today. let them see kissing because they're going to see it sooner or later.
Okay.
Would you rather they see it when they're 13 years? No, but if you don't show it, they will see it somewhere else.
Thank you so much, Brian. Need I remind you that Brian is also a child, so he's not just speaking. We're getting this from the child perspective. Now, before Karen, I come to you, I also have, I'm going to ask you the same question. Now, Brian, you've given us all that. Now, you as a child advocate, Eastern African representative of the Pan-African Child-Led Organization, what are you doing to ensure that children are getting
child-friendly material? First of all, I am a member of the Mtoto News Insights. I am a journalist and I try as much as possible. I am a creator of child-friendly content. That is the first thing I am doing, right? The second thing is I try where I am. I have a little brother, a little cousin, someone who is below me, right? I expose them to the right kind of material. I guide them. And I myself, as a representative of children, I try and address media stations like right now. Advising you guys what child-friendly material is. Trying to teach you guys that child-friendly material does not necessarily mean no sex or no violence. It also means material that is educative.
Thank you so much, Brian. Let me come to you, Karen. Now, Karen, as a child advocate, what are you doing to ensure that children are getting good content?
I'm here and I'm trying to make content here that is safe for children. Yes.
Asante sana, Karen. Now, if today you are appointed the leader of the Communication Authority of Kenya, what would you change that is there right now and should not, maybe children are not finding quite okay?
I would add more child-friendly content to the news, like these big news industries like KTN, Citizen, NTV. I would urge them to add more child-friendly news instead of just, let's say, like the other day, there was a bus that fell off a bridge, I think. Like, these people died, and then let's say the children are just there watching with their parents. What would they feel? Let's say, like, after that bad news, they would bring something fun for children to, like, help them wash away.
So basically, we should get more child-friendly content in our TV stations. India.
Yeah.
Let me come to you, Bran. Bran, 10 seconds. If you are appointed the leader of the Communications Authority of Kenya, what would you change?
I would make Nickelodeon, Jim Jam, and Disney Junior free.
Thank you so much, Brian. That sums it all.
I mean, it's simple. If you're not going to give them access to the kind of material they're going to have, I love Akili Kids for actually being able to make it a free channel. But if you're not going to make it free, they're going to watch Akina Kiss TV and Citizen TV, the ones that are actually free. So I would make those channels free. Disney Junior, Boomerang, all of them free.
Nicktoons. Asante sana. Sheila,
make me the right person.
Okay, Sheila, you are appointed to the leader of the Communications Authority of maybe Kenya or Africa. Nini, what would you change?
Actually, what Brian has said, that was what I was going to say. Like, these channels need to be free.
Nickelodeon, Boomerang, Disney Junior, made free.
Hizo zote.
Asante sana.
And then something else I would at least, as much as adults are concerned and we are just not being selfish, just thinking about children content and not forgetting that the adults, they cannot watch what we children would like to watch. At least it be controlled. You see, let me use this example because like before 10/10 is watched, I always like the guy is always like, if you have a child under this age, please tell them to go to sleep.
Thank you. So basically they should, try and mention
this. Willis Rabu, that is the name.
Willis. Kindly tell your children to sleep during these shows.
Not really.
But not really, So like they should also be educated and, get to know what child-friendly content is from a very young age. And also, Brian also mentioned something about, exposing them to sex education, because if they do not know about these things earlier on, they will start seeing them from somewhere, from other people who will not guide them. And also Karen mentioned something about making more child-friendly content for children. Sindio? Asante sana. So we have come to the end of Mtoto News Insights again. You can keep the conversation flowing about the right child-friendly content for children on our social media platforms at Mtoto News, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're also on TikTok, and you can also find us at our beautiful website at www.mtotonews.com. Also find me at all social media platforms at Omar Hemed 83. But for now, we say goodbye.